Hello and welcome to my VV Gamma Learn Log Day 6. So in today's Learn Log, I would like to share how to design your own plugin system inside vvvv Gamma. So recently I've been playing on that. I learned actually. So this is an obj parser that I created recently, and it's parsing whatever obj, and this is actually the entire patch. I'll just close this one to here, and then I have multiple OBJs that I want to read, and then I can immediately generate particles out of it. I'm not gonna explain how this OBJ parser working. For today I just want to share that in vvvv Gamma you can design your own plugin system. So I can read this, for example, for this OBJ parser, I can read this entire nodes like nuggets. Like most of you probably have already installed Nugget, but Nugget, once you install, then you can always read it by opening up this present box. So my OBJ parser, for example, so I'm gonna close this one. And then, for example, I'm gonna open up a new patch. There should be setting window, a key mouse display. Yeah, now I have a key mouse display. Oh, but it's too far. Okay. Anyways, so for example, I just started a new patch. Call me names. Right now, there's no OBJ related nodes, right? But since I have the plugin myself, what I can do is if I go to these dependencies, and then if I go to files, add existing, and let me access, so I have my OBJ parser here. So this is my .vf document, and once I add this to my dependencies, then if I type obj, then I have my obj parser plugin in my new project. So for example, let's try the obj parser, and then I also categorized my obj parser as an animation, and also there's a drawing section, and there's also like a, how to say, like no category one. So I would like to use the obj parser, and once this is here, I can actually file reader. Then I actually don't need this. Yeah, so here my obj parser already has a directory, so I can go to my 3D scan data, whatever is okay. So I just did it and reset, bang. If I press this, then as you can see, I already have multiple values that's coming out, and these are the vertices of the OBJ. So after that, I just have to draw this as a particle. I mean, I already have that in the OBJ parser as well. So in my OBJ parser, there's a drawing section and there is a draw. So what this one does is, OBJ parser has a drawing and two buffer, sorry. So I have a two buffer, so this converts, this is a node that looks like this, but I have this, so it converts those spreads to a 3D buffer. Then I can put these here. Should also have a vector color, buffer size. Oh no, this one. So two buffer count, and then yep, it's all good. So the rest, render entity. Oh, yeah, I need a stride, render entity, and then scene window. Root scene. It's not showing anything. Sky. Yeah, let's just try drawing a sky. Oh yeah, I know why. So the uniform scale is wrong, so I'll need a uniform scale 3D. And I'll just put it here in 0.01. Yeah, so now as you can see, I have my shoes. This is an OBJ file that I 3D scanned a while ago. But as you can see, now I get an OBJ parser, which in default it's not in vvvv, but you can create your own OBJ parser, or you can create your own whatever plugin and put it in your new project and then use that all the time. So in vvv beta, we had to do this by creating a module folder and put all the submodules there. But in vvv gamma, you can actually create a project that has all these submodules contained, and you don't have to copy paste. You just have to add this into a new project, dependency files, add existing and definition, and that will already, the entire node system will be included in your new project. So for example, let's start explaining how you can actually work on this. Okay, so I'll just close everything first. Okay, close all. No need to save anything. Okay, so let's start from scratch. So first of all, let's start a new project. So if you've already played around with vvv gamma, you might already know that in usual we keep patching here, like we have like a multiplier, and if you want to calculate something like float times float integer, and this is the calculation result. So 10 times 2 is 20, for example. So this is a very simple patch that you could create in Gamma. And I'm not sure what this one is called, but vvv gamma has two windows. The second one is called definitions. So this definitions is actually the one that I was showing when I showed the entire plugin system for OBJ parser. So this is where you put different patches, like sub patches. You can store sub patches here. Right now there's nothing, but let me explain how you can add one here. So in vvv gamma, if you type so there is, if you double click, there is this thing called node on the top, and if you click this, I've already got the node that's called node, but there's only like an update input. And if you open this one up, there is another place that you can actually patch, right? But once you create this node, if you go to the definitions, there is a node called node. So if you create another one called, I don't know, like multiplier, and then you can name your own node by typing the name here and then clicking node. So now I've got a new node called multiplier, and if you go back to the definition, you can actually find out that now I have two different nodes called node and multiplier. And if you go into this multiplier, it opens up a new place. So what I'd like to do is I would like to copy this one and then paste this one inside multiplier, and then define an input. Oh, not this one. So control middle click. Oh, no. Wait. What's control middle click? No. Shift middle click. No. Hey. Oh yeah, sorry. Control left click. And then you should be able to create an input. And then I'll create an output here. And then I would like to also create a multiplier. So input 2. So I'll call this one a multiplier. And this one is an input. And this one is an output. So once you create this in the multiplier, if you go back to your, the main window, you should be able to see that my multiplier node, so this one is the one from here, actually has an input and multiplier and an output. So right now the pad is in a generic mode, so I can specify what kind of input I want to give. I'll just say like float 32, and then it automatically changes the other ones to float 32. So this one is the input output, and this one is the multiplier. So 10 times 2 equals nothing. What's wrong? Oh, well, okay. Yeah, I guess I'm not really sure, but Yeah, this was a bad example, but I'll keep going. So this one is called, this one as an input, you can actually specify what kind of input you want, or elsewise it will keep it as a generic input. So what I would do here is I'll go to configure and set this as float 32. And it automatically just changes everything else to float 32 as well. So once you specify the input, you can go right click, configure, and you can specify like the type of this input. And once this is set, yeah, it's all working. So now I have a multiplier that works with float 32, and it automatically just works as a subpatch. So now my multiplier in my definition is this. So this is the first step. So I just explained how you can create your own node. So I created a node called multiplier. I don't need this node, so I'm going to delete this, and I'm also going to delete this from the definition. But as you can see, now I have a node called multiplier, and I can bring this guy. Now that I've already created, I can call him as much as I want, and I can keep using this guy as a module in my patch. So this is the first step. So let me create another one called I don't know, like double. I'll just create a node called double, and then I'll go inside here and I'll just go like, okay, this guy will always be, yeah, so I have an input, and then I'll specify this guy as integer, could be whatever, yeah, so integer, and then I'll have a same setup but as an integer, and this one is I don't need this guy as an output. I'll just keep this guy always the same as the first input, so it will always double, it will always multiply the same amount from the input. Okay, so once this double node is created, as you can see in my definition, I have a node called double and a multiplier. And then if I go back to my main window, then I have a node called double that has an input of 1, and every time I put different values, it keeps doubling that with as an output result. So now I've got I've got a .vl document that has 2 different plugins, and let's say I want to use this for multiple projects. And what I would do is I would delete everything that is at the main window, because if you have something left here, it will always keep opening that, and it just gets quite heavy. I mean, if you're creating your own objparser and you have a renderer on this main window, then it will keep opening up a new renderer, and that's kind of annoying. So I'll just make sure that everything is deleted, and I'm going to save this gamma file just to the desktop, and I'll call this guy my new plugin. Okay, so once this is done, I can close this patch, and I'm gonna create a new Control-N, and you can create your new patch. So now here I don't have a node called multiplier, but let's say I want to call that. To do so, if you go to this place, and then if you go to dependencies, as like I read the objparser files and add existing, and so here I have the patch called my new plugin, and I can call this, and once it's finished loading, if I type multiplier, there is already this node that we just created. And yeah, it works exactly the same as it used to be, But if you go back to definition, as you can see, my nodes are not here. The modules that I created in my last patch is not here. And this is because this guy is not sorted in my definitions. It's inside the other project that I created, but I can still read him. And if you want to edit this guy, if you open this and then if you go to multiplier and then go to definition, then here you should be able to see your plugin system. So this definition is actually from the previous patch that we created, so the plugin. So it's not from this guy, but it's from this guy. It's a bit complicated, but you'll get used to it. So here I should also be able to, for example, bring my double node as well. And it works exactly the same as how it worked when we created. And so this is very handy. For example, if you have like tons of, like my objparser is actually a good example, but if you want to create your own plugin that's dedicated to some certain function, and you don't want to recreate that all the time, you can create your own plugin and just put it here, like put the entire modules that are created in different projects that you think you'll be using multiple times, and you can call that like my plugin and just keep storing sub-modules there. Then you don't have to copy paste that all the time, just have to add that .val document as dependencies, and you can always use it. Yeah, so this is a really cool thing that you can actually do. I mean, it means that you can almost design your own nugget, and if you want, you can also upload it to a nugget if you think people would like to use it. Okay, so that was the quick explanation of how to create your own plugin. At last, I would also like to explain that, so right now everything is in the, how do you say, it's the root definition, but you can also say, you can also name your plugin here. Let's say my new plugin. And if you name this one, what would do is if I go back to the patch that I'm reading my plugin, if I type my new plugin, there is a category called my new plugin, and these two nodes that I created will be shown there. And there's another thing you can do. If you double click here and if you type category, then you can actually create your own category. Let's say, like, I would say math 1. So if I create a category called math 1, and if I right click and open this, there is another definition here, and I'll just cut double and then put it inside here. What it does is if I go back here and if I open my new plugin, before I didn't have this math #1, and if I click this one, there is my double node. So if you have like variety of sub modules and you don't want everything to just show up here, you can also categorize that in different categories like animation or drawer or like calculator or whatever. Then you can make it show like the other plugins. Like if you install Kairos, for example, Kairos is a nugget that I got from Nugget, and if you go here, Kairos also has different categories called blending, clip, clock, editor, and you can actually design your own by understanding this flow. Yeah, so that was it for today. I hope it helps. So I'm actually learning this through a custom training class that vvvv group is giving. And if you go to this visualprogramming.net website, which is where you can download VV Gamma, if you scroll down, there is a section called support, and there is 3 different categories. And I actually asked them to offer me custom training because I wanted to understand vvvv gamma deeper. And this actually helped. Like, I had no idea how to code, but I actually could end up being able to design my own OBJ parser. And this is all because of this custom training support. So if you're interested, you may just contact them via email, and they might be able to support you. Okay, so that was it for today. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.